In this podcast episode, Dr. Shefali Tsabary, a pioneer in the conscious parenting movement, discusses the profound challenges facing children's mental health today and explores how parents can consciously navigate these complexities. The conversation delves into topics including emotional regulation in parents, the impact of technology, healing from one's own childhood trauma, the differences in raising conscious daughters and sons, combating societal pressures around identity and appearance, and the crucial role of presence and connection in parenting. Dr. Shefali highlights the unprecedented severity of the mental health crisis among children, marked by soaring levels of suicidality, anxiety, loneliness, body dysmorphia, and identity fragmentation. She underscores that these issues are exacerbated by digital technology's hijacking of attention and attachment, which undermines the parent-child bond. The escalating influence of algorithms, tailored distinctly to girls and boys, manipulates their neurodevelopment in vastly different ways, intensifying these struggles. At the heart of conscious parenting, Dr. Shefali stresses, lies the parent's supreme emotional regulation. Parents overwhelmed by comparison, anxiety, or perfectionism, often fueled by social media platforms like TikTok, are ill-equipped to support their children through modern challenges. Emotional disconnection in parents directly translates to disconnection in children, who mirror their caregivers' emotional states and gauge their worth and safety based on that reflection. The episode dismantles the misconception that intellectual understanding is enough to become a good parent. Instead, Dr. Shefali insists that healing from personal childhood wounds within the parent-child relationship is indispensable. Healing is relational and ongoing, requiring parents to face their own unhealed parts illuminated by their children. Acceptance of inevitable mistakes, coupled with humility and willingness to grow, forms the foundation of truly conscious parenting. Dr. Shefali reframes children not as extensions or possessions of their parents, but as sovereign beings with their own destinies. While they share biological roots with their parents, imposing parental ideals or expectations, particularly toxic, inherited belief systems, can cause harm. Conscious parenting involves resisting the urge to control and instead ushering children into their fullest selves without entangling them in parental ego or identity. The conversation acknowledges how digital immersion and overstimulation have fractured both adult and child psyches, eroding capacity for attention, solitude, and genuine connection. Children now access broader worlds through algorithms before they can physically explore those worlds safely. Dr. Shefali warns that if parents don't consciously prioritize presence and undistracted engagement, children's psyches risk being shaped predominantly by strangers within digital ecosystems. Being present transcends mere physical being. It demands mindful attention, emotional availability, healing of past wounds, and a commitment to show up authentically with openness. Presence requires cultivating a calm, uncluttered internal state and resisting the pull of dogma or judgment. This conscious presence creates a secure base where children feel valued beyond their accomplishments, talents, or appearance. For daughters, Dr. Shefali identifies heightened sensitivity to emotional rejection and connection as neurological realities. Girls often build their sense of self through relational approval and are therefore particularly vulnerable to the unrealistic and toxic standards propagated online: perfect bodies, curated images, and endless comparison. Fathers hold a crucial role in shaping their daughters' self-esteem through how they regard and respect women, especially the girls' mothers. Teaching daughters about voice, embodiment, enoughness, boundaries, and anti-fragility empowers them to navigate external pressures without losing themselves. Sons, biologically wired for pursuit, competition, and physical action, face a society and educational system that increasingly suppresses these needs. Reduced outdoor play, exposure to violent video games, and the pervasive influence of the manosphere create dangerous distortions of masculinity. Dr. Shefali emphasizes the necessity of conscious male role models to initiate boys into healthy manhood, teaching them respect, consent, and emotional expression. Without such guidance, boys risk adopting destructive attitudes or falling prey to addiction and social isolation. Parents often believe that by consciously deciding to parent differently than they were raised, they will avoid mistakes, but Dr. Shefali explains this mindset is a trap. True transformation requires healing, not just thought. When parents react from unprocessed wounds or unrecognized conditioning, they unintentionally replicate dysfunctional patterns. The journey to conscious parenting is continuous work, embracing imperfection and vulnerability rather than denying it. Dr. Shefali critiques the prevailing tendency to view children primarily as human doings rather than human beings. This leads to relentless performance pressure, early specialization in sports or academics, and a commodification of childhood. The pursuit of excellence often robs children of play and authentic bodily engagement, which are essential for healthy development. Recognizing and respecting the natural timeline of growth and the primacy of play counters this imbalance. Parents who have created lives of greater abundance than their own childhoods risk inadvertently fostering entitlement in their children. Dr. Shefali advises modeling gratitude by exposing children to contrasting realities, showing effort behind provision, and encouraging contribution. Allowing children to experience manageable struggles builds resilience and counters the fragility bred by excessive comfort and immediate gratification. The episode addresses the pervasive commercialization of beauty and the objectification of female bodies, highlighting the damaging cultural tide exemplified by phenomena like OnlyFans. While acknowledging individual agency and economic motives, Dr. Shefali frames this participation as reinforcing patriarchal systems of female objectification, not genuine sexual liberation. Fathers play a significant part in how daughters learn to value and protect their bodies, especially through their treatment of the women in their lives. Fathers' reverence and respect for mothers profoundly influence daughters' self-worth and sense of safety. Encouraging daughters to exercise voice, set boundaries, and rebel appropriately within the family prepares them to resist societal pressures and advocate for themselves. Fathers who own their shadows, model conscious masculinity, and nurture female empowerment help create emotionally healthy environments for their daughters to flourish. Dr. Shefali recognizes the unique challenges faced by single mothers raising boys, especially when the maternal history includes trauma related to male anger or abandonment. Boys require guided initiation into manhood, often best provided by positive male role models outside the immediate family. Absent this, boys may seek belonging in harmful groups or online spaces, increasing risk of maladaptive behaviors. Finding community resources or mentors is critical to healthy masculine development. Parents today face relentless pressure to prep children early for high achievement, feeding into a parental industrial complex driven by societal expectations and commercial interests. Dr. Shefali cautions against pushing children prematurely into performance modes, emphasizing the necessity of protecting childhood for play and exploration. Delaying specialization and celebrating the child's intrinsic worth detaches identity from achievement and leaves space for authentic growth. Ultimately, conscious parenting asks parents to transcend egoic identity attached to roles, achievements, or appearances. Parenting requires humility, accepting that imperfection is inevitable, and being willing to grow alongside one's children. This includes owning personal baggage transparently and inviting children into mutual healing rather than pretending faultlessness. Dr. Shefali stresses that the foundation of good parenting is parenting oneself well. Adult healing work, including inner child reparenting and shedding resentment toward one's own parents, is essential to prevent passing on the garbage. True freedom comes from reclaiming power over one's narrative and fostering compassion for previous generations without dependence on their healing. For parents with young children, Dr. Shefali advises prioritizing safety, connection, attunement, and presence while maintaining a neutral stance toward achievements or performance. Encouraging autonomy, voice, boundaries, and anti-fragility from early on develops sovereign children. Homeschooling or intentional community living with like-minded parents can support conscious parenting, especially in the digital age. Importantly, resisting early introduction of digital devices helps preserve capacity for attention and attachment. The discussion concludes with a call to view parenting as a learned skill that requires education, ongoing growth, and societal support. Dr. Shefali advocates for systemic change, such as mandatory parenting education and community involvement, acknowledging that modern parenting often lacks tribal or elder support structures that once offered guidance. Raising conscious parents is key to transforming the culture and safeguarding future generations.